If you like that, if you like seeing kids being transformed, this is the place to be.
Yep.
Where you will see some definite results. You will see kids making decisions for Christ and rededicating their lives. And I can't think of anything more exciting than that. And so I would say, if that's you, get involved.
Working with the local church to take the hope of Christ to every student in the United States. This is First Priority. Now here are your hosts, Steve Chirico and Brad Skelling.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the First Priority Podcast. Glad that you're listening today.
Welcome to you, Brad.
Welcome, Steve. Steve sounds a little funny today because he's looking a little funny and he's got a new microphone.
Wow, I sound terrible?
No, you sound good. You look good.
Funny's pretty normal. Looking good. And looking good is feeling good, darling.
Yes.
Yes. So what's going on, Bradley?
Oh, we just, it's summertime.
Summertime.
Little Fresh Prince.
That's right.
DJ
sit back,
Jazzy Jeff.
And unwind.
Uh-huh.
Did you appreciate all that?
I'm having flashbacks.
Our poor listeners.
Wow.
They just turned it off.
And the fact that I just knew that.
That's
right
amazing.
That just dates both of us is all that does.
Let's leave now. The top is already down on the Jeep. We'll pull the doors off. Let's get out of here.
Let's go. It's been fun. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Yep, that was a great show. At least we think we're funny if nobody else does, right?
Hey, people tell me they listen. They don't tell me why they listen,
exactly.
But they tell me we listen.
Exactly. So in all seriousness, what are we talking about today?
We have a couple guests on our show. We did the spring meetings back in May.
Yes, we did.
And Al and Theresa were here from Decatur, Alabama. So I sat them down. We listened to a few stories and, went from there.
Now, I don't remember, so you can refresh me. Did they say what their roles were at Decatur and who they are and where they're from? They did all that fun stuff?
Yep.
Okay, well, then we don't need to do that.
They're just, you weren't on the interview.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're just two fabulous people that spent some time with you.
Yep. They introduce themselves. They tell a few stories why they love First Priority, and hopefully it's an encouragement to those listening.
Great. Well, let's jump in then.
All right. Well, as Steve said, I am here with Al and Theresa. Welcome to the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, obviously we've hung out a few times. We met at the fall conference. Al, we've been around for a while, Theresa, but our audience may not know who you are. So would you take a moment, introduce yourself, tell a little bit about who you are, family, things of that nature?
Sure. Of course, my name is Al Miller. I grew up in Birmingham most of my life and ended up in Decatur probably back in 1987.
Wow.
And joined Decatur Baptist Church a couple years later, where I met Larry Franks, who's now our director of the First Priority of Greater Decatur.
Yes.
And he was a student pastor.
Okay.
And we began probably back in 1990 just praying for, actually a little later than that. I said 1990, but it was actually later. But we began to pray about how could we impact schools, and never really realized that we would ultimately end up in an organization like First Priority.
Right.
So in a sense, I've been praying for this ministry opportunity for years, being involved with the student ministry with Larry. And when the opportunity came up for him to get involved, I was very excited about it. So I've been a donor from the very beginning.
Okay.
And I worked for the Boeing company for several years and just retired.
Okay.
And just decided that it would be a good opportunity for me to come and join the team.
Sure.
And so I just really believe First Priority is what I call the last resort for fighting the enemy in the schools. I mean, it's where we fight against the indoctrination that you see in schools today.
Yep.
We have an opportunity to teach kids how to share the gospel and bring people into the kingdom. So for me, it's not, I was sharing this on my way up. It's not necessarily that I am all excited about kids, but I'm excited about what we do to help kids reach other kids. So, that whole initiative to me is very, very exciting. So I worked for Boeing for almost 20 years as a manager. So I think I bring a few leadership skills to the table. Okay. And I felt like I could use it in helping First Priority, or I could be playing golf. I don't know which ones.
You could be working for First Priority playing golf.
That's
you could
true.
do both, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
So, we look for, I was looking for a ministry opportunity when I retired, and I retired early enough that I still had some energy.
That's awesome.
So I decided that this is where I wanted to minister. So.
And how long you been on staff?
A little under a year now, about 9 months. I started in this school year cycle.
Okay.
And so very exciting. It's a great team there in Decatur.
It is.
We have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. We pick on Larry a lot. At least our office picks on Larry a lot. Yeah. But you two too?
Literally, it gives me something to do every day. I mean, I could, I'm for the last 37 years, I've been getting up every day and going to a place where we had goals and objectives that we had to meet each and every day. And I try to bring that same mentality into the First Priority office. So I get up every day and get ready.
Yep.
Go down to the office. I have my shirt on that has First Priority emblems on it. So, and then I just try to work within the team. We try to collaborate on a lot of different things. I really enjoy going out and presenting the gospel during the evangelism week. So that's something I really enjoy doing.
I love it. I love it.
So really, that's my story. I'm married for 35 years to Sylvia.
Nice.
We have 4 kids and 7 grandkids. So,
wow. Congratulations.
I do get my share of opportunities to minister there. But
Are they all close?
Yeah, they're all there in Decatur area, so we get a chance to see them when we can.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's been great.
Cool.
I look forward to what the Lord's going to be doing in the future with First Priority, and just glad to be a part of the team.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm Theresa Cox. I have been a layman for First Priority for over 10 years. I was at a middle school locally and just felt like it was actually a school in the opposing side of town from where my own child went to school. But I just felt like that school needed Jesus just like my kids' school did. And so started doing First Priority in middle school, which is a whole nother animal compared to the high school. But I have loved those kids. And then in sometime in the fall last year, Larry Franks, several people mentioned First Priority, and I was getting ready to finish my master's, and First Priority was only a volunteer gig. It was just never going to be more, because why do you get a master's and then go to ministry?
Yep.
It just didn't make any sense in my head. And then the Lord just very clearly showed me in Isaiah and Jeremiah the call on my life to come into ministry and be a part of First Priority, that this passion I had equated to a calling, and that's how I was going to serve him.
Nice.
And so in October, I came on part-time. I'm an accountant by trade, and so I do that some on the side, but 4 days a week, I'm a part of an expansion for First Priority into Cullman, Alabama. We have seen, I believe, I apologize, I should know this number, but we've seen at least 7 to 10 kids come to know Christ, and then we've had the same number rededicate their lives.
Okay. Down in Cullman?
Yes.
Nice.
And we just started clubs in February.
Wow.
So we've seen the Lord do that work. And so we're just full steam ahead. We're ready for the summer and to get training and to continue to make partnerships. Just looking forward to what God's going to do. But I'm also married, probably the youngest grandmother working for First Priority. I have 15 grandkids, got to beat Miller.
Wow.
I married into that. But
very cool.
The Lord blessed us greatly, and we have 7 kids and 15 grandkids. But we stay busy, so
yes,
the Lord's gracious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I think you both started to hit on it a little bit, but why First Priority? Why finish a master's degree? I'm assuming it's not in nonprofit management, more of the accounting line of things. Why are you helping start First Priority in a new area?
I just felt like at the end of the day, there was this eternity was at stake.
Yeah.
And, I've been in church my entire life, and you're always told, go and be a missionary, go and tell people about Jesus. But so often the kids don't understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
And so the master's at that end of it was just kind of irrelevant. It was something I did and I felt proud of, but it didn't yield any eternal fruit. And this does.
Yeah.
So it was an easy choice when the Lord showed it to me in his word. You
got a good story from the time since February, or even networking the church? Because you've been working longer than February, right?
I started part-time in October.
Okay.
There was a Thursday. It was a random Thursday. I remember sitting in my car, and I don't have an office in Cullman yet, so I'm just frequenting a couple coffee shops. And I just remember sitting there and thinking, Lord, there's this other coffee shop I could go to, but I'm just going to go here today. I'm just going to trust you. And I can't do it by myself. I remember praying that. I remember which way my car was parked. I remember everything about that morning.
Love those moments.
And then I went in, and the entire day, donors walked in and said, I'm going to start giving to First Priority. Like people that I knew, but they happened to frequent that coffee shop that day.
Wow.
Someone agreed that morning, first one out of the gate, to sponsor an entire school year.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, what? A school for the year. It just blew me away.
Wow.
And then pastors who wouldn't return my calls, they showed up. And they were a captive audience. I got to talk to them and do my spiel, even though they wouldn't have returned my call. People saw the emblem on the back of my laptop and walked up and asked about First Priority.
Okay.
Just the entire day. It was, and then that night, so 7, 8 people I interacted with today, and I just thought, about noon, I'm like, okay, God, you're doing something. And that evening, there was a church and a school that we couldn't get connection in. And I sat down at a friend named Dawn's house. She has a monthly Bible study. And I sat down and sharing with him this amazing day. God did all these things, and all I was doing was sitting on my hiney. I mean, I was literally doing nothing. God was doing it all.
Sure.
And I said, but there's this one school, and to my left was the wife of the pastor at the church that we needed. And she right away said, I want to be a part. I'll talk to my husband. We'll get our church involved. And I just remember thinking, this is insane.
Right?
I'm doing nothing. And the Lord has opened every single door. And there's been discouragement since. But Thursday, I mean, there was enough to get you through a year of just the Lord being faithful.
Just opening the door.
Yes.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. What you alluded to as well, we're about sharing the gospel, but we're also about helping students share the gospel, right? Helping students.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate, the reality that we come across kids every day who really, this is their church, right?
Yeah.
We find kids that say, my parents won't take me to church, but this is the place where I go, where I feel like it's my church.
Yeah.
And we impact kids in so many ways like that. We see kids that come in that have never gotten a hug all week long. And that's where they find people who demonstrate that they love them.
Will care about them.
So it's a church feel. They feel like they're a part of something that they want to be involved in. They get to learn about Jesus, and they get to balance that out with everything else they're hearing in the world, right? These kids come in very difficult situations. They see things that really trouble them. Yeah. And First Priority is that place where they can come and find community.
Yep.
I mean, I'm very fortunate to be able to work with elementary school kids. And they latch onto you and hug you. I mean, I don't know, my heart breaks. Yeah. Right. When you find a kid that just loves to see you, just to get a hug.
That's
just for you to tell them that you love them.
That's right.
So that's my motivation. But when you think about where to invest your time, for me, it's all about building the kingdom, right? Yeah. So when you think about what God has been doing in the world since the very beginning is creating a place where we will gather together in a kingdom where his son will be on the throne.
That's right.
And now when I think about the mission of First Priority, that's what we're about. We're about helping kids come to find that relationship with Jesus Christ. So one day they will also be in that kingdom. So I can't think of a better investment than First Priority. Now there's a lot of scripture-based, church-based programs out there.
Yep.
But this is the only one that says we're all about seeing kids come to know Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I mean, where else would I be investing? I mean, for me, I would be wasting my time with any other organization. So I believe in the mission. I believe in the strategy of First Priority and how we go about it. I like the fact that we get churches involved. I like the fact that the community is involved. So when you're bringing to bear all of those entities together for the objective of seeing kids come to know Jesus Christ so they could one day be in that kingdom.
That's right.
I can't think of a better investment. And, we know the parables, right, of the talents. We know the parables of the pounds, right, in the Gospels where one day we will have to give an account for where we have invested our time and our money and our talents for the whole purpose of Jesus Christ saying, well done, thou good and faithful servant, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm looking forward to that day.
That's right.
I'm not doing it just because of that, but I'm hoping that the work that I do in First Priority, it'll be recognized at the judgment seat as being something that was done for a good purpose.
That's right.
And I mean, I can go on and on about that, but the kids will change your life. I mean, when you see the impact that you're making in their life, you walk away believing that, you're doing something really, really wonderful for the kingdom. So.
Well, and you never know what impact. That reminds me, Steve, I think, just told a story about a student who was at Ravenwood, and he reached back out 5-6 years later to find out, hey, where's life? Where are you at? You might want to tell your story. He hadn't heard from her for 5-6 years. She's over in Egypt, working a secular job, but sharing the gospel.
Right.
It's like, man, that's the other side of the world.
Exactly.
That person who got their feet wet in First Priority and leadership experience is now impacting all the way on the other side of the world. So we never know where that will take them. So,
I'll give one other testimony. I think is pretty unique how First Priority is influencing our church, right? Yeah. So, just about a couple months, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, Larry gave us the 4-circle band.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So the simplicity of being able to share the gospel, I was on a mission trip down in Belize with my pastor. And just because I was familiar with the 4 circles, we stayed at this really nice resort location, right? We were on the mission field, but we weren't really suffering. Uh-huh. And the workers would come by and I would share with them using the bracelet.
Yep.
And I remember my pastor saying to me later on, he says, I wish I could do that. I mean, that's my pastor.
Right. Yeah.
Coming to me saying, hey, that's just so simple. Mm-hmm. We need to do that for our church.
Yep.
And we have actually ordered the bands, and
nice.
we do. That's part of our evangelism ministry today.
Nice.
And that's based on the influence of First Priority, just teaching the kids how to share the gospel in such a simple way with these 4-circle bands. Mm-hmm. Everyone is coming to me now saying, hey, tell me the strategy. How do we?
That's right.
Give me the script, right? And it's totally transformed our whole church. My pastor, you'll never catch him without a band on. He always gives them away. He uses the band to pass out to people after he shares the gospel, and he gives them away and puts another one on. So that's just a really nice story of how First Priority has really been an influence in our church from an evangelism standpoint.
I love
the simplicity of what we teach kids how to share. Right now, adults are really wanting to know the same strategy and method. So
what a conviction! Like if the kids can do it, I can do it.
Right, exactly. Well, we try to overcomplicate it, right? You need a master's degree in order to speak or to talk about Jesus or whatever, and it's just not true.
Or you need 40 minutes to give a full sermon, and you don't.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you're both fairly new into staff members, but if somebody's considering coming on and joining First Priority in their location, wherever they're listening to this podcast, what advice would you give them? What thoughts? What should they consider? Or they shouldn't consider, they should just do it.
No. I think it's very clear that you have to get a word from the Lord. I've worked, and I'm sure this is a story of a lot of people, but for me, from 15 on, I worked hard jobs. I say hard. They required critical thinking. They required me to answer to a boss. I mean, they were just and I wanted a promotion, and I did well, and I was successful in my job.
Sure.
But the work came to me. Like I would come in at 8 a.m. and all the stuff's on my desk. The emails are coming. And, now to be in a place of ministry where you have to go find the work, you have to not only go to the lost, but you have to go find the churches and show your burden to them and help them and pray that the Lord's resources would come. And so all that to say is it's totally different than a secular job.
Yep.
I mean, there's no greater thing that I've seen opposing. But also, you have to see it in the Word of God.
Yeah.
I mean, I and it's not that like our church jokes about, it's like the point and pick method. It's not like you can just open the Word of God and say, Acts 1:8 tells me I should give up a secular job. You can be a minister anywhere for the gospel.
Yes. Amen.
But like where we were reading, there were scriptures about raising up the tribes of Jacob and being a light to the Gentiles. And then I was like, okay, God, well, I don't really know. So you just keep reading. And then there are other confirmations particular to my life where I write down, okay, God, you're saying this, you're going to have to prove it. And then when you get confirmation, you go.
I like it.
I think because then no one can ever contest that. No one, if the days get hard, if the money's not what you would have loved, you can go back to what God said, I do it. And that's what matters.
That's right.
Because then he'll do the rest.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'm glad you went first so I could think about what I want to say. I think if anybody's considering coming on board First Priority, here's what I would tell them. We're in a very prominent church in Decatur. So we've had, I don't know how many programs that have come through that have failed. I mean, we get excited about it for 2 or 3 months, and then it's another book on the shelf, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And these things come in. It's the next big thing that comes through. It's like the shiny object that we see. We go after it, and these things don't last.
Yep.
But if you're really looking for a ministry that has proven itself to have results, right? True results, you can see the decisions that are being made, and you can watch kids literally at the beginning of the year transform themselves by the end of the year. If you're excited about seeing transformation in kids, where they go from being introverts to stepping out and sharing their faith, and leading groups, and you can literally see the transformation. If that excites you, then this is the program to be involved in. It has definite results. So we see so many programs that come into churches and fail, so many programs that are just they don't give you exactly what they promote and what they market. But this is the one that we've been in Decatur 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is.
To do ministry really well. And what I know about people, they will invest in kids.
Yeah.
Typically, once they become adults, I mean, we typically sit down and we get lazy. But people will invest in kids no matter what age it is. It's very seldom do you see people reject investing in kids. And this is a ministry that invests in kids. And if you like that, if you like seeing kids being transformed, this is the place to be.
Yep.
Where you will see some definite results. You will see kids making decisions for Christ and rededicating their lives. And I can't think of anything more exciting than that. And so I would say, if that's you, get involved.
That's right.
Get involved with it.
That's right. I love it. Well, thank you both for joining me today. Just breaking off a piece of bread with us and sharing what the Lord's doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, as we said as we were jumping in, two fabulous human beings.
Yep.
Two very unique perspectives.
Yes.
You have to love Al's passion for the age group he's serving.
Yep.
And you have to appreciate that Theresa knows who she is.
Yeah.
She knows what she's supposed to be doing, what she's not supposed to be doing, how to stay in the midst of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's encouraging to me. And I know it's encouraging to everybody listening, because we all have different stories. We all come from different places. God calls us uniquely, and just got to keep following the Lord.
Agreed.
Well, thanks for a good show.
Yeah, it was excellent. And don't forget, 5-star rating, like, share, comment. We appreciate not only those of you who watch on YouTube, the three of you, but also those of you who listen on a regular basis. We're grateful for your interaction.
Yeah. Until next week.
Till the next one. See you.